Business Focus with Kudzie, Shrara on the Champions League breakfast.
Good morning and welcome to Business Focus, where you are also free to contribute with your questions and anything else that you'd want us to discuss in the world of business. Come through on 0719 100404. We have Kudzie Shrara on the line with us. Good morning to you, Kudzie. How are you today?
Good morning, Tinashe. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you, Kudzie. Let's begin by rewinding to the 2nd of July 2025, which is yesterday, and look at how the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange traded.
Thank you, Tinashe. So yesterday was another down day on the ZSE, with the all-share index losing a marginal 0.15%. The top 10 index was actually worse off with a marginal 0.47%. Daily outspend, that's the amount of money that was invested, was at a good 11.7 million ZiG, with most of those funds going into Econet, about 8.9 million ZiG, TSL, 2.2 million ZiG, Delta, Pro Plastics, and OK Zimbabwe also getting a sizable chunk of the funds that were invested. On the upside was TSL, putting on 13.82%. So TSL is in the process of acquiring a controlling stake in Nampec, and the two companies have since agreed, just waiting for regulatory approvals. And recently, also, we saw TSL releasing its financials for the period under review. And it was yesterday's top riser. Zim Papers also putting on 0.5%. Zim Papers is currently going through its digital transformation with a new newsroom having been put up and awaiting commissioning, and also digitalization of its platforms. ZHL also putting on a marginal 0.18%. EcoCash Dairy Board also amongst the risers, but with very, very little movement there. On the downside, the biggest loser was Ariston, down by 6.67%. Ariston is into horticulture production, avocados, tea, macadamia, and the like. Econet also amongst the losers, down by 2.02%. Recently, I think it actually declared a dividend. That's Econet there. CPZ also up by 1.39%, down rather by 1.39%. We saw early over the weekend, CBZ was actually awarded or given an award in Nigeria at the African Bank meetings, where CBZ was said to be the best bank in the region. That's in Africa, and we saw the CEO Lawrence Nyazema actually getting an award there in Nigeria. So kudos to CBZ for getting that award. Obviously, when they are out there, they are representing Zimbabwe. So it's good. I've always seen some other banks getting these awards on the international platforms, and it was good to see. I know Stanbic Zimbabwe, they always get that several African accolades. But this time around, it was CBZ, which was selected as the financial institution of the year during the Pan-African Business and Development Awards ceremony in Abuja, Nigeria, over the weekend. And this category recognizes excellence by financial institutions in the Tier 2 capital segment across the continent. And the award is for financial institutions whose strength, innovation, and commitment have advanced African Bank's mission of transforming African trade. So, yeah, I think we are all grateful to CBZ for having represented us on the regional or continental platform. So, but yesterday, obviously, like I said, it was one of the losers with a 1.39% drop channel. Also amongst the losers, Fitco also amongst the losers, but with very marginal losses being recorded there. So that's basically how the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange traded yesterday.
All right, thank you so much for that update, Kudzie. And any corporates making headlines in the news?
Yeah, we are in the earnings season for some of the listed companies with their reporting period being the March, and then there are also others that also delayed releasing their results, and they are now releasing those results. So maybe we can start with First Mutual. First Mutual was actually a trading update that they released this morning for the period to March. That's First Mutual, where they're telling us that insurance revenue went up by 17% to $41.5 million US. So that's insurance contract revenue. And then they're also saying insurance services also gaining by or growing by 2%. Then rental income for the properties that they own went up by 7% to $2 million. And then they're also saying that, however, profitability was on the downside with profit after tax coming in at $2.2 million, down from $3.7 million prior comparative. And I think where they suffered the most is on net investment return, where they had a negative return of $357,000 compared to $3.7 million prior comparative. So that's First Mutual Life, and we know the financials were delayed because they had some financials that needed to be looked at following an audit. But yes, now they've come up with their results. Also, in the papers with their results is Star Africa Sugar. Star Africa Corporation. They've got two divisions. That's Gold Star Sugars as well as Country Choice Foods and as well as some properties. But as for Gold Star Sugar, they're saying they generated a 7% growth in sales volume. So they managed to sell more sugar there, with granulated white sugar sales increasing to 59,613 tons. And they're saying that this performance is particularly encouraging given the subdued trading environment in the latter half of the year. So subdued trading there because of tight liquidity in the economy. And they're also saying at Country Choice, their specialty products division achieved a 14% growth in sales volume from about 1,200 tons to 1,400 tons. And they are saying that this success was driven by strategic adjustments to their market approach and enhanced value offerings. So that's Star Africa Corporation there. The sugar, mostly known for sugar production at Gold Star. They are also saying that also what affected their volumes is that it's demand for industrial sugar. So industrial sugar is like your bottle grade sugar, probably let's say sugar that is used by the beverage manufacturers, such as the Deltas of this world, the Deripots of this world. So they are saying industrial sugar in general, demand for industrial sugar in general was weak, as some of the key customers in the beverage sector suffered from the negative effects of the added sugar on beverage tax, so-called sugar tax. And they're saying that throughout the period, these Gold Star Sugar enjoyed an ample supply of raw materials and strategically managed production in line with demand to optimize working capital. However, as I said, that the effect of sugar tax is affecting Star Africa. For example, if they're supplying more sugar and this particular beverage manufacturer decides to limit the amount of sugar so that they can avoid the tax, it also means that demand for Star Africa will come off. So these are some of the effects of some of the policies that would have been put in place, hopefully for the greater good. Also out with their numbers. Remember, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, we were talking about Seedco International, which we said were regional operations for Seedco. But today we are going to talk about Seedco Limited, which have got operations here in Zimbabwe, where they are telling us that revenue went up, a significant growth there. This is for the period to March 2025. and they are telling us that revenue was at 71.2 million, up from 36.8 million. So probably the growth, in fact, the growth there, I think, is explained by the fact that the previous year there was a drought, and when there is a drought or late rain, farmers tend to buy less of seed. But this time around, we had, I think, reasonable rainfall, and that shows in that revenue growing by from about 36.8 million US dollars to 71.2 million US dollars. The company was also profitable at operating level with a 20.6 million profit there, however down from 49 million prior year. And then profit before tax or profit for the year also coming down to 17.5 million. So still profitable, but it's 17.5 million versus 21.2 million prior year comparative. So that's critical there. And I think they also managed to declare a dividend. They're actually telling us that sales performance went up by 52% in sales growth amid increased demand on both local and export market. So they're saying that maize seed sales outstripped the budget, and benefiting from regional demand in response to the El Nino impact in the previous year. And volume growth were recorded in wheat as well as small grains, as farmers responded to effects of climate change. So we're seeing a significant shift in small grains, in the production of small grains or growing of small grains in response to the effects of climate change. I think government has also taken a position where they provide farmers with those presidential input schemes. They are no longer just saying everybody gets maize seed. They are looking at your region, the amount of rain you receive, and all things that need to be looked at, and then they'll give you appropriate seed for that period. That's why we are seeing a significant shift in terms of growing of small grains. So that's basically, those are the companies that made it into the news tonight.
All right, Kudzie, thank you so much. 5 minutes before 8 is our time right here on Capitalk. We are discussing the world of business. Kufojika kwakamira sei Kudzie, the trading update yekufojika.
Thank you, Tinaje. So yes, this past season was really, really good for the tobacco industry sector, and so far it has recorded a 48% growth from the previous year. So the previous year we produced about 220 million kgs of tobacco, but now we are at 326 million, and this is also not only above last season, where probably you can talk about the drought season, but it also beat the all-time record, which was, I think it was around 294, 296 million, but now we're at 326 million kgs that has been delivered, and the auction is and the selling season is still on, which means that they could even get to 340, including the mop up sales. And in terms of value, so far about 1.1 billion has been realized, which is a 44.21% growth from 758 million prior year. I think what I have noticed also is that this season the auction floors have been very competitive, and farmers at the auction floors have managed to get a better average price than those at selling at to contractors. And I think last week we had a conversation where we were talking about the actual benefit. Yes, as a nation, we have seen that growth. We've broken that record. We are in record territory. The revenue or the value is more than $1 billion in that sector. But what does it mean to the overall economy? Is that 1 billion going to change lives in Zimbabwe, or it's going to change lives for the contractors who are, some of them, most of them, in fact, that are foreign contractors that are funding the tobacco? So it's a conversation that we must have as a country. And also, is this the most we can get from our tobacco? If you are getting 1 billion, is this the most? There is talk that you can actually get as much as 60 billion if you value add. So that's another conversation that we must have. And I'm glad that Zim Papers as a group is working with the Ministry of Agriculture, Land, Fisheries, and they are partnering for a tobacco conference where the issue of beneficiation and value addition will be discussed. So that will be on the 25th of July. That's where this conference is going to be held. And hopefully they can come up with really some tangible initiative or strategies to make sure that the country gets to benefit. So the theme of that conference is transforming Zimbabwe's tobacco industry through beneficiation and value addition. How much can you value add as a country? How can we grow this 1 billion into 5 billion, into 10 billion? I think there was a strategy to unlock the value within the industry for about $5 billion by 2025. We're already in 2025. How much of this how far have we gone in unlocking this value, and what more can be done to make sure that we realize even more than this $5 billion that we're talking about? So that conference that will take place on the 25th of July. I think it will be at Golden Conifer. And for those who are interested in attending or partnering for this conference, they can call Martin at 0772 651 852. They can call Martin at 0772 651 852.
All right, Kudzie, thank you so much for Business Focus for today. Let's discuss more tomorrow, as always. Have yourself a great Thursday.
Thank you.
Business Focus with Kudzie Shrara on the Champions League Breakfast.